All right. Hey, everybody. Um, I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach to videos this week. This project that I'm working on for the Gouf is going to be a lot of new tools and a lot of steps that take a lot of time. So I'm going to release shorter videos more often. That might work out and might not. Let's find out. Um, so we're going to start working on the head. I've already taken the liberty of, let's just pop this off. We don't need it on the body. To the side. Stand guard. Okay, so I already took the liberty of gluing the head, not the head, the crown together, the cap here. We've got the front section. There's a little bit of a front on the visor in this lower section. As you can see, it's still pretty rough, but I'm going to add some putty to that, which you'll see later. And then the fin, the commander fin, is glued in to the inside. Be very careful, as you'll see in a second, why. Okay, so this guy glued in. It's filed off, but still, you can see it's all melted in there. But it still needs a little bit of filler, and I want it to be nice and crisp, so that's going to take a second. Now, the thing that I said to be delicate with is this. On the more modern kits, I know with the Thunderbolt kits, they don't even have this kind of piping. They have it's a hose with a piece of crinkly plastic on the outside of it, or there are some other softer stylize. But on the kits from the 2005, I think 2000, well, not 2000, this is 2001, so when this kit was released. But kits from like 2005 and on, they have a different kind of assembly for these little buggers. As you can see, they're all loose. That's right, folks. That's 20 tiny little specific, they're each different. Not each different, they're different sets. I think there's 4 different types, but there's different ratios of them in relation. 10 on each side. The body over here, that's 20 per side. 60 of these things all in all. Two nubs per piece. All right, enough grabbing. Yeah, so on the kits like this kit from 2000, I have an older kit from 1995, an old Zaku. I love it. I can't wait to put it together. I've just poured over it but not cracked it. It's going to have the same thing. They look really nice, but so that is going to come off of there. But on the front, okay, so the front of this, the seam, this horrible seam to me in here, I just don't like that. I feel like it just detracts from the look. It makes it look like an anteater or an aardvark or something. It's ridiculous. I want it to have like a nice graceful slope back through there. Focus. A nice graceful pitch, nice slope back through there. But that makes some problems. And the first problem is that I have to fill that in. And how do you sand that with this thing in place? So I'm going to have to take, come on, focus. I'm going to have to take this nose off. And the nose also keeps the hoses captive inside. So how are we going to deal with the nose being permanently attached to the jaw, but still allowing for the hoses to be attached to there? Questions, answers. Okay, what we're going to do is an operation that I saw in a Gundam Weapons. This one, Gundam Weapons, where a gentleman or several gentlemen had modified the not the Zaku, but the Gouf, and I think I actually accidentally tore the page out. Not on purpose. I've just poured over the book enough times that I wore the glue out in the binding and cracked the seam. If I can find a good one. Perfectly scripted. Live. Madness. There we go. I did have it. Okay. Ta-da! So as you can see, same issue. On the nose, highlighted, seam issue. So this is what we're going to operate. We're going to make this guy right here beautiful and clean, and we're going to drop this down a little bit, and we're going to open up the base to allow for that to go in. And we're going to use some new tools that you guys may know about and you may not know about, but you'll know about it after we do this this little bit of the series. All right, so first things first, we're just going to crack that loose piece off, pull these guys aside and set them. I have these little portion cups that I use for mixing paint and for measuring things. These guys, they're graduated and they have all of the measurements for everything under the sun on them. That goes in there because we don't want to lose anything. And to get these two, put it on right away, get these two to sit properly, we are going to use some two-part putty. My favorite brand of two-part putty is a product called Epoxy Sculpt. It is made by Aves Studio. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. They make a lot of good stuff. All right, so I cracked the visor out so that we don't have any issues. I have a little stand. I'm doing this the wrong way. Okay, there we go. Beautiful. So the Epoxy Sculpt is this product right here. This is a giant 2-pound tub of it, and this is only one part A, so it's mixed together. Part A and part B. Generally, they are two different shades. It's like two dogs fighting for a treat. Two different shades. Mix them until you can't tell the difference between the colors. The little bit goes a long way, and as you can see, I have just a ton of it. I use it for all the filling on all the prop replicas that I make. If I break something and I need a little filler patch, I use this stuff to patch it together. It's tacky for the first 30 minutes, and it's dries rock hard in a grand 24 hours on the label, but I find it's good in about 16 hours to do any kind of sanding that you might need to. Basically, if you put it on, mix it right, you can just leave it overnight. Oops, looks like we went out of focus. There we go, sorry about that. All right, so I've got the two parts. As you can see there, two different colors. Just mix the heck out of them. Oh, and I should mention first thing you got to do is take some of this stuff, isopropyl alcohol, and clean the parts. Otherwise, they're not going to stay together. All right, so it's all mixed up. And I don't have to worry about it. It's workable for 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours probably. It's like I said though, it does stop getting sticky or stop staying sticky after about 30 minutes. So we will work a little bit quick here. Not that this is going to be a 30-minute video. Okay. So alcohol, and this is kind of like my little trick. I don't know if you guys thought about this. When you have a big jug of alcohol, this isn't even very big, but when you have like a pint of alcohol, and not the kind you're going to drink, and you need a pour spout, just cut a slit with a razor blade in the end over here, just like make a little smiley face on it, but make him a cyclops, put a little hole for the vent on top, and then you can control the amount that you pour, so you don't just get these gigantic glug glug glugs, and you don't have to risk contaminating from your rag back into your bottle, because this stuff's supposed to be clean. It cleans the stuff. Okay. Scrubby, scrubby, scrubby. Always clean your parts before you try to do this kind of gluing stuff or putting any kind of like putties. All right. That easy mono. Not easy. Fights the easy 8. Okay. Where did my sculpty stuff go? Here we go. Alright, so I'm going to grab my wax carver. You guys may have remembered this one from my scribing video, or my etching video. I did this guy I use for etching, and also my favorite scribe. This guy's great. Anyways, sculpty tool, smack the goof in the head. That's what my... Alright, hey guys. I started putting putty onto the goof, and I realized that I needed to glue it together, so I took it apart. And what you get is these two guys. They'll look pretty good when once they're together. It's like a little bit of... Oh, I have it upside down again. Look at that. Like one of these days I'll get it right. No, I had it right side up. Heck, I don't know my head from my nethers. So we're gonna glue that together. But one thing I noticed was the way that the inside of this fit. There are these 4 location. There are these 2 heavy location pins and these 2 slot locators in the back, and then they correspond with the inside of the head here on the front and back of the polycap. Now, to get this in, I want to glue this thing together and work on it without this in there because I just don't want to risk fusing it or screwing it up. But how the heck do I get this to go in there if this has got these deep pins and it's all tight and stuff? How do you do that? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to cut these down. You're not unfamiliar with that. I'm sure you watch Zaku Aurelius or any of those other guys that do this stuff. But we're going to cut these down and make them into little round nubs. I'll do that off camera because it's going to be tedious. But I'm going to make them into these beautiful little round nubs that'll kind of pop into place in those spots. And what I'll do to ease that a little bit is I'll take... maybe I'll take this tool. I'm not sure if I'm going to take this one or if I need one with a wider spade. But I'll go in there and I'll round that out a little bit. Just the tiniest little bit to ease the pop in on the nubs. So I'm going to do that in a minute and I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, so I nipped off those dudes. You can see I scarred the crap out of the bottom of it, filing them into little nubs, but that doesn't matter because it's the bottom and it's inside the helmet and it's never seen. Once again, I was talking about this on a YouTube show with the Gunpla builders last week. Know what parts are seen, what parts aren't. It's okay to mess some things up. Pardon my language. It's okay to mess some things up if they're never going to be seen. The only person that knows is you, and now, well, me and all of you. It's a little telling. Okay, so I talked about how I was going to open these up. As you can see, I glued the schnoz on, and it's loose a little bit still because the glue takes time to set, but it's going to be okay. I think that my glue up... I don't like the way that interface is right there. There we go. Alright. Yeah, it's such a weird fit. Such an odd design. You know, they're doing what they can at the time. This is an old kit, so I'm not complaining that much. Alright, so, but to get the inside, I was talking about using this tool, and I started to do it and realized that some of you might not know what I'm talking about. So, on this hub, I took the tool and I worked this inside edge here down to allow that sanded down nub to slide in and still register and pop in there. And I'm going to do it on this one on video and show you what I'm talking about. So you can't go like this because if you go straight in, you bottom out and you just spin all day, and what you'll do is you'll bore a hole straight out the bottom of the piece. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. So what we're going to do instead is take the tool, rest the nose part of the way into the hole onto the opposite face and rotate it so that the very edge of the tool is just grinding away at this little portion right here. So I keep doing that. And then right there, a little scrapey, you can see that we've now worn it down. It should give just enough room for that peg to pop in there and still be able to come out again if I need to take it out for whatever reason. So, alright guys, just wanted to show you that real quick. Once again, just trying to help everybody get a little bit more diverse with their modeling tips and techniques. Hey guys, couple things update. As I'm making this video longer and longer, I said it was going to be short. So the putty that I mixed didn't work out. How about that? I was able to scrub it off really easily. Scrape it off, I guess I should say, more or less. You can see some of it was mixed properly. If I can get that to focus. Okay, yeah, some of it was mixed properly and stuck to the sides, but a majority of it wasn't. However, my helmet mod, I filed down the insides of those two pegs a little bit, and now, well, put this guy on there. There we go. That'll do. Alright, so that'll prepare me for the next mod to happen. Oh, look, I popped the glue. Oh, it's coming up to glue it again. Well, anyways, it's all a work in progress, so I'll catch you guys next time. Okay, so I remixed my putty. I forget that with this stuff, lighter is better, and it's more sticky. And you can see it looks a little bit different too. And surface tension. So, squeeze it. Oh, that's good. Okay. And then I applied a little bit here to the cap as well, the crown, the cowl, the top of his head. Yeah, try and make that pronounced a little bit more. Obviously, I overbuilt that so that I can shave it back to make it the proper size. And look at the shine. God, that looks beautiful. All right. Next time. All right, it's been a couple of days, and the putty all cured up beautifully. I did some filing on it to tone it back. There'll probably be some high and low areas that I'll discover when I prime it, but we'll worry about those when we get to them. So, nose is all smoothed off, and you can see I made these little wells here in the side where the hoses attach, and you can see I got a couple of lines here across the bottom. And I know a lot of modelers, when we have to remove this part. So I know a lot of modelers will just use the hobby knife, and they'll scribe and scribe and scribe and scribe and scribe and scribe until the piece pops off, breaks, whatever. But we're going to use something else. I'm going to show you guys a new tool. Also, I added some. If I can get it off of here. I added some putty to the cap, and as you can see, it is much pointier on the top, on the tip, and it's going to have a much better look when it gets all painted up overall. So the next tool that I want to show you guys about is this little guy. This is a jeweler's saw. It's also called a piercing saw. It's typically used on softer metals, but it can also be used on plastics, obviously. It's just like a coping saw in a lot of ways, but it's designed to hold these really, really micro thin. I bet if I can put my hand in front of that. Oh, you can just barely see the teeth. Use these really thin blades, and it's got an adjustable stop here. If I can loosen it up enough. Got a kink through. There we go. Yeah, you can see it slides in and out. Right now it's holding a blade, so I keep a lot of tension on it. But these are adjustable with these little clamps here to hold this blade in. And the thing with these little blades is they easily break if you force them, or if you're using them improperly or whatever. So these adjustable clamps and the adjustable arm allow you to reuse the short blades, so you're not wasting a blade. Every time you break a blade, you can just pop the broken part back into the saw and use it. This particular unit is a grill bit, Swiss made, yeah, good stuff. High quality. This is a little bit of a higher end. It cost me about $27 on Amazon. You can probably find it on there or something very similar. You don't have to get one so crazy. It has a 4-inch throat on it. These saws tend to have between a 2 and an 8-inch throat. And there are a ton of different kinds of blades. So this is just a straight blade. This is in number 3/0, like fine tooth. But I have some of these guys, which I got from a friend of mine. They're same 03, but check these guys out. They're really cool. They have all these different types of teeth. Now you can see some of them look kind of like piano wire and other stuff in there, but you've got like this blade here, this twisty one, is made for cutting omnidirectionally. You can cut every direction you want with that. Look, it's like a piece of barbed wire. It's beautiful. And then there's a bunch of these regular little straight blades in here. It's just kind of a little variety bit that an old friend of mine gave me. So what we're gonna do is use this, oops, sorry, bumped the camera. We're gonna use this beauty to cut the line out on this guy. So to do that, I'm just gonna line it up right across there, straight across. You can cut a little bit on the inside of that line because you don't want to overcut. At least I don't want to overcut because I want to keep as much plastic as I can. So I'm just going to start sawing. This is going to be very hard for me to do on camera. Let's see how we're doing. Great. Okay, so it's doing good. And then just gently drawing back. You don't want to force it. You want to let the tool do the work. And if you do let the tool do the work, it will go so much more smoothly. You'll have a much better result. Don't force your files. Don't force your knives. Don't force anything. It should be a good relationship between you and the kit you're building. So as you can see, clean that up a little bit. We've got a nice groove starting there. It's a little dusty, so it looks funky, but all right, so I'm just gonna keep doing this. All right, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, and a few seconds later, and I was able to work on the edge of the table. It helps to have this backed up instead of like trying to do it free floating in there. And as you can see, two fairly clean cuts. Won't really need to do too much filing to figure that out. As you can see, I kind of nicked the top there, but that's okay. Most of that gets hidden. This tool is mostly used with a thing called a V-board or a bird's mouth. And that's just a piece of wood that's like, let's use this file thing as an example. If this hole were cut at an angle or cut a triangle out of that, that would be your bird's mouth. And then you put a piece against that, and you can then easily cut away and support the piece as a backer and have the room for the saw to cut. A lot of times you run into it interacting with like the table. I was trying to cut flat on the table and I kept bumping the end, so I had to switch to an angle like this and angle my piece on the edge of the table to cut to. Anyway, so that's done. And I think what I can probably do is just snap this together and give it a shot. All right, with a little bit of careful manipulation and mild cursing, I was able to reassemble the head. Looks like I have a little bit of a crack there. I have to fill back in. But as you can see, I was able to attach the hoses from the underneath. The visor looks super sharp, which I really like. I'm really stoked on how well that turned out, and I really like the way those fit. I'm gonna end up having to file down these hoses here so that connection looks a little cleaner. It's a little disjointed, but as you can see, it's a little bit of a struggle to get that together, especially working on camera. So that's gonna wrap this video up. Some little bit of two-part filler and some gluing and some modifications with the jewelry saw. Thanks. I want to say thank you guys for tuning in through this journey. I meant for this video to be short and quick, and it ended up being a whole lot more of a process than I thought it was going to be, as many things with model making and sculpting are. If you guys hope you appreciate this video, hope you learned something from it. If you have any questions or any comments, go ahead and leave them down below. If you like this and you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. If you want to see them right away, hit that bell, because it'll give you notifications when I post a new video up. And yeah, come check out my Instagram page, Brian Denclau Creations, oddly enough. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Bye bye.